Well, folks, we are getting into the holiday break. Early Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody who watches this YouTube channel. You might be thinking it's a weird time to go out there and say that, but really, I'm just trying to come up with things to talk about. I don't know if you noticed, but there isn't really much going on in the NHL today, which is a good thing. You know, it's Christmas Eve after all. Everybody's at home watching Home Alone with their eggnog, or maybe you're watching something else. If it's not Home Alone, maybe it's something a little more for the adults. It's a Wonderful Life, maybe? Maybe it's Die Hard. Who knows? But the point is, there isn't really much going on today, which gives us the space to breathe a little bit and take a step back into being able to see the NHL standings of today, and how this is looking really good for some of the teams that I follow in particular. Y'all know that my teams are the Canucks, the Canadiens, and the Red Wings in that order. Not necessarily because, I have any personal emotional connections to them, but really it's just a matter of convenience at this point. Like, I've mentioned this before on live streams and what have you, but I'm a Canucks fan because, I live here in Vancouver. I was raised here in Vancouver. Wasn't born here, though. I was born in the Philippines, which I guess is a lot more obvious when you see some of the vlogs that we have made in the past. But Canucks are my number one. Montreal and Detroit are my 2-3, partially because I did have some friends in high school who cheered for those teams that I was pretty good friends with, but also because when I would make videos about these teams in the off-season, talking about their prospects or what have you, those videos always got views. And this is not a recent thing. This is literally back in 2018, 2019, whatever, that kind of period 5, 6, 7 years ago. 6, 7. But, I apologize. It just slipped out. Because of that, it gave me the incentive to churn out more content about these teams, and over time, when you get more familiar with something, you just start to like it more. You start to form more of an emotional attachment or a bond to whatever it is that you're divulging your attention into. That's exactly what happened here. Watching the Canadiens draft Cole Caulfield, watching the Red Wings draft Mo Seider, seeing that go down in 2019, it was awesome, and now I cheer for these teams. But either way, my teams are at the total opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to the NHL standings, and this was reflected by Frank Saravalli, who posted this earlier in the morning. The NHL at Christmas break. Number 1, you have the Go Avalanche Go... Okay, we gotta just read the teams. Read the teams, not the hashtags. The Colorado Avalanche are first in the NHL with an 847 points percentage. Dallas Stars with a 737, followed by the Minnesota Wild at a 658. Kind of crazy how the top 3 teams in the league are all Central teams. Then you have Carolina, Vegas, Philadelphia. What in the world? The Flyers are doing that well this season? Rick Tocchet, bro. Look at that. Anyways, they're there. Then you have the Red Wings and the Canadiens at 7-8. 618 points percentage for the Red Wings, 608 for the Canadiens. It's looking pretty good for these teams. Skipping all the way to the bottom, though, you have the last team in the league. It is Chicago, a Connor Bedard-less Chicago. And then you have the Vancouver Canucks at 31. 458 points percentage for Vancouver. It's kind of crazy. There are 27 teams in the league that are at or above 500. The San Jose Sharks are right there. They've got a 500 points percentage this year. So do the Predators, the Blue Jackets, and the Utah Mammoth, but they are 24th to 27th in the NHL via points percentage. Parity is at an all-time high this season, my friends. And I just wanted to spread some good vibes for all of the fans of these teams, because I do think this breathing room is worthwhile to acknowledge and to just be within, because, for example, the Montreal Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings being in the spots that they're in, I get it, they're competitive against each other because they're both in that Atlantic, but seeing Detroit as the number 1 team in the Atlantic, followed up by Montreal and Tampa, it's one of these things where it's like, if you told Red Wings fans at the beginning of the year, oh yeah, they'd be here. Christmas break, end of the year, they're the top team in the Atlantic, they're second in the East. If you told any Red Wings fan that, they would be like, okay, good. It's surprising that they were able to get there, but they have the talent to do so. If these rookies come onto the team and display consistent value over the course of the year, if all of the bets that the Red Wings made work out, if JVR, for whatever reason, all of a sudden becomes a goal-scoring stud, there's a lot that needs to go right for this Detroit Red Wings team for them to have a successful amount of points at this stage of the season. But it's all going right, really. Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat. Okay, DeBrincat's cooled off a little bit the past few games, but Larkin and Raymond and Sider, they're going out there consistently getting points, stealing games in overtime. The goaltending has been questionable, but it has gotten better lately. The defense, same thing. It's gotten a tad better lately. I don't want to make it seem like it's the end of the world, but there is still some improvement to be had there. For what it's worth, though, most that could go right with this team is going right. And you can say the same thing about the Canadiens, but maybe not to the same extent. I'd say that a lot of Habs fans walking into the season, they all thought that the team would be better than they were last year. It's just the linear progression of how you expect younger guys to improve, considering the fact that the best players on the Canadiens all happen to be quite young. And now they're in this spot. They're also a top team in the Atlantic, and they are demanding respect from the rest of the NHL, so that's pretty good too. And then you have the Vancouver Canucks, who are second last in the NHL with points percentage. It's kind of funny because this team just won 4 out of 5 on a road trip. Can you think about how bad you have to be to have a stellar road trip like that? You go on this huge win streak. You get wins out of Demko and Lankinen. You get shootout victories where Lankinen puts up the highest save percentage in shootout history. And you also have Thatcher Demko putting up some bubble Demko-like numbers on this run. Yet, the team is still second last after all is said and done. They're coming back to Vancouver. They're 4-1 in their last 5. They're still second last. If this is a team that is still trying to turn it around quickly, retool in a little bit of a hybrid form, then just that idea in isolation does not sound productive all the slightest. Thank you to Thomas Drance for going out there and writing that article yesterday. We did talk about this, by the way. We posted this yesterday on the channel talking about how apparently the Vancouver Canucks do not actually want to go out there and start selling the farm for contending-like pieces right now. They want to let this breathe over the next, let's just say, 2 years. They want to let this season come and go. They want to let next season possibly come and go without any super competitive hockey, which I think is going to be very, very productive for this franchise long-term in terms of building the youth and cultivating a winning environment for these guys to be able to step into and not just have them losing over and over again. Hey, there's a difference between just being bad and actually rebuilding. And I think the Vancouver Canucks are going to have to come to terms with that in their trade plans heading into the next few weeks here. So with that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Standings check-in for the Canadiens, the Red Wings, and the Canucks. Not really anything that I think is too important, but it's a fun video topic. So let's go out there and talk about it in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Swedish Trolls 9, and bye.